Hey everybody, I think PayPal stock will double or more within the next 5 years. We're going to talk about why in just a minute. We're going to get into the stock's performance over the past 5 years. We're going to talk about my favorite things about this company going forward. We're going to look at the risk factors and more. So let's dive right into the performance. Over the past 5 years, PayPal has not been a good performing stock. I will get that right out there. The stock is down by 54% over the past 5 years. It's important to put that into context. 5 years ago was, the height of the COVID pandemic. Every purchase had switched to e-commerce. PayPal and all other payment processors were seeing unprecedented growth. So it's not really a fair thing to say that they've done a bad job over the last 5 years, but we can say that the old management team did a pretty bad job of setting expectations. They had, for example, they said PayPal was going to hit 750 million users within a few years. They're currently at about 400. So they were making unrealistic projections and kind of had a disjointed growth strategy. Um, so that's where the performance was. Over the past year, it's been a little better. The stock is up 13% over the past year. So we're starting to see a little bit of traction, but I think the best is yet to come. All right, so let's dive into the bull case for PayPal. So I'm just going to lay out three reasons I love the company. There are a lot more, but obviously I can't get into everything in a short video. One is their leadership team. The leadership team that they hired is doing a great job of executing and turning the company around. It starts with CEO Alex Chriss, who was a former Intuit executive who was hired in late 2023. And shortly after that, they pretty much hired a brand new C-suite, and pretty much every leader at PayPal is new. They hired executives from Citigroup, from SoFi, from other financial companies, and built kind of a dream team to take this company to the next level. So 2024 was the first, I guess, almost a full year of new leadership. And the priority was efficiency. They wanted to return the company to profitable growth. They wanted to start growing the user base again. And they did that. You can see the numbers right there on your screen. So far, they were successful. 2025 is really when they're stepping on the gas with growth opportunities, and I can't wait to see what that holds. And speaking of growth opportunities, the second reason I love the company right now is a lot of monetization potential. And I can just go through some of the highlights. For one thing, Venmo is very under monetized compared to PayPal, which is kind of surprising, but they think they're going to be able to roughly double Venmo's revenue by 2027 just by doing a good job of engaging users. For example, the average Venmo user that just gets person to person payments generates about $10 in annual revenue for the company. Someone who uses the Venmo debit card, the Pay with Venmo app, has a direct deposit setup, is over 10 times the revenue generator. So there's a huge monetization gap. And they ultimately aim to combine all of the products they have, PayPal, Venmo, and others, into a single platform, which I think is years overdue. I never really understood why I have to have a separate account for PayPal and Venmo, even though they're the same company, why there's not more synergies between the apps and things like that. Another thing is the ad platform. PayPal recently launched an advertising platform. It just launched in October 2024, so it's not really reflected in the numbers yet, but it is a big opportunity. They hired the former head of Uber's advertising, so I'm really excited to see where that goes. And getting past just online payments, I think, is the biggest opportunity for PayPal. They have a roughly 20% share of the online payment market, but less than 1% of the $200 billion in revenue that could come from offline payments. If you think of things like advertising, commerce, and credit revenue, the market opportunity is $800 billion. So there's a lot of untapped opportunity here, and many of their recent efforts to get into some of these things, like I mentioned, advertising, are not totally reflected in the numbers yet. Now, there's too much to mention here. They recently gave an investor presentation that was 224 slides long, so I obviously can't talk about every reason in one video, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes at PayPal right now. The third reason is the cheap valuation. PayPal trades for just 14 times forward earnings, about 10 times free cash flow. It's buying back its stock aggressively. Management is targeting a 20% long-term growth rate, and even by 2027, they think they can get the growth rate consistently in the low teens. That would be a big accomplishment, and this would be a very cheap stock if they could do that. For the bear case, there is a lot of execution risk in the strategy. That's the obvious one. But for me, the biggest risk is to be able to maintain profitability in a highly competitive space. It's really tough to maintain fees in an environment where the long-term trajectory of all financial service fees has been downward for decades. So I think maintaining take rates from the payment processing business is going to be key to being able to maintain a profitable growth rate. I'd love to hear what you think is the number one risk factor for PayPal. Please let us know in the comments where you think what you think will prevent PayPal potentially from getting to where it wants to be in 5 years. And again, I think PayPal stock can double over the next 5 years. The management team's great. There are a lot of ways they can monetize the business, and it is a very cheap stock today. A lot of execution risk here, and it will be tough to maintain the payment processing profitability. If you're ready to discover more investment opportunities in payments and beyond, go to fool.com/invest to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So that's it for today. If you found this insight valuable, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Help make our community smarter by sharing your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Stay foolish, and we'll see you next time.